Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Heather.
And this is Confidence with Coffee, the segment for our YouTube channel where we look over and respond to the wonderful podcast that we have put up this week. And today we are talking we're talking all about the amazing interview that we've just done with Deborah Attela. But before that, hi Heather, what are you drinking?
Oh, hey, my usual instant coffee.
Ah,
Mug.
I gave up coffee and now have For the Senses herbal tea.
That's unusual for you.
Mm.
Considering we just talked this morning about you giving up caffeine and you adamantly said no.
That's because I am not giving up caffeine.
Okay, so this is just a little break from your caffeine.
Yeah, it's just a little break, really. It's just a moment for me to digest.
Okay. Before you get back on the caffeine wagon.
Yeah, before I get back on the caffeine wagon. That's right.
Amazing.
That's right.
Amazing. Amazing. So happy Groundhog Day, everybody. I'm
Happy
so
Groundhog
excited.
Day.
Yay.
Yes.
Yay.
We are filming this on, what date is this? February 2nd. So
Yeah.
yes, happy Groundhog Day, everybody.
So
Today.
whenever you're watching it, maybe spring's already here.
Yeah.
Hopefully. It doesn't matter. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all perfect timing. I'm so excited about this interview. I absolutely loved it. I feel,
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel so good.
I know. Yeah.
And when you talk to some people and you just kind of go, yeah,
Yeah.
like I knew this, but I needed to hear this.
Yeah, and there were it was quite a podcast of those moments. It wasn't
Yeah.
just like lightning didn't strike just once within the frame of this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I love, because we talk in Confidence Through Cabaret a lot about, owning our body and owning our space and owning our voice and our narrative. And then, it just connected with me so much about how much I actually give away.
sure. Yeah, yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I've always felt very indecisive,
Right,
which says to me that I haven't, like, I've always not known my own voice
right.
unless other people give it to me.
Yeah, I
And
know.
that goes
Yeah,
back to childhood.
yeah,
I can remember not even being able to make a choice of colors of things,
yeah,
and I would say, what do you think? What do you think? And then I would sort of go with consensus.
yeah.
And my late husband, if I asked his opinion, I had to go with that because
Right,
apparently that's why I was asking for his opinion. But
right.
and it used to drive me crazy.
Mm,
But actually, you know what? I gave him that power and permission to make my
yeah,
decision for me. Even though it wasn't a decision, I would just be asking for opinion,
yeah, yeah,
And I think actually I'm it's a habit. It's a real habit.
yeah.
And it's not until you hear somebody else saying it, you go, yeah, that's right. Yeah. And
Mhm.
then you go, oh, wait, I do
I
this.
do that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't even know that was a boundary that needed to be placed down.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Shall we have a listen to the bit of the podcast?
Oh, I love this bit. Yes.
Okay, all right, let's take it away.
I know that if I need help with something, because one of my mantras is I am in the right place at the right time with the right people. Like I know that if I need help with something, somehow, some way, I'm going to get led to where I need to be to get that help. I'm going to come in contact with the right people on this journey
Right.
to enjoy the journey even more, to make it more fun, or to push me further.
Hmm. Yeah.
And everybody has that, but we give that power away. Well, what do you think? Should I
Ah,
do this? Should I not? Should I wear this? Should I say this? Should I not do it? Like we give it away. And other people usually respond not in your best interest, but from their fears.
Yeah, it's really interesting as you say. It's like you can hear something and you can know it, but then sometimes to actually have that information kind of be received into your core and have someone else say it and reiterate it in a way that you just suddenly resonates with you is really interesting. And I
yeah.
think the fact that she's sort of talking here about giving away our power to somebody who responds through fear is really quite interesting. And I honestly will say I hadn't quite thought of it in that necessarily in that context before, but it is very correct. There's any number of times when I can think of where I've asked someone to essentially make a decision for me, and I've known necessarily that that might not be coming from the right place, albeit with the best intentions, but it might not be coming from the right place, and then it hasn't worked as a result. And it's like, how much have I lost in the process of giving that decision away?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, assuming that people's intentions are innocent
Yeah.
and for the best, which we need to start from,
Yeah.
it they often don't know that they're coming from a place of fear. I
Yeah.
mean, I've met a lot of parents, like a lot of parents, in my children growing up, where they kind of live their own regrets through their
Right.
children, so
Right.
they give that advice because they wish that's what the path they took
Sure.
was,
Sure.
you know. And I think certainly my own mother, would very often say, "Ooh, don't do that. What will people think?" Or what,
Yeah.
and so, but that was her own limitation. And I
Right.
was fearless, but I learned to
Right.
not be. I learned to go, "Ooh, yeah,
Hmm.
maybe that's not okay. Maybe they didn't really mean it when they offered that, or maybe they
Yeah.
didn't." So I would second guess that voice that I was real knowing in my own
Yeah.
head. And then as adults, unless we question that, we don't
Mhm.
we don't come back to that and go, "Hang on a minute," and
Yeah.
then reclaim it.
Yeah.
And I mean, certainly as parents, you'll hear it a lot outside the school gates where people are saying, "Well, what do you do? And how do you do that? And how does it work for you?" And sometimes we're looking for validation. We're not even really looking for advice. And
Yeah.
sometimes, people will give information from that place of fear.
Yeah.
And it's not just unique to parents. I think we do
No.
this with
No.
our careers, even. I mean,
Yeah.
just spend more than half our waking hours at work, and yet
Yeah.
we give the those decisions to someone else. And it isn't always about giving away decisions, but it does then make us second guess and go, "Oh, I don't agree with that. So does
Yeah.
that mean I'm wrong?"
Right. And especially if you're responding to a narrative that's already much larger than you.
Yeah.
And like, so this is obviously definitely manifested in my life in a number of ways. But, if you're thinking about, certainly as I am now, thinking about all the times when I've kind of cowed down to or bowed down to seeming pressure, that's usually, without going into too much of it, that's often typically to do with my sexuality or my gender display or any number of these things, and being shamed through fear of reprisal often, an adaptation of my behavior. And it's like, how many, thinking about that, you kind of go, well, how many times have I stopped myself from doing something because I brought on a societal fear that's been put into my friends or family or whatever, any number of these things, these narratives that are around us. How many times have I cowed down to that? And what have I lost in the process?
Yeah.
And that, that's something I've definitely thought about for a long time. And I think this is a process of peeling back a layer, because as each time you uncover a fear, you see something more. And it's very Wizard of Oz. I think eventually you kind of get to this point where you start to see that the wizard behind his great sort of projection and his smoke and mirrors and bluster is actually just a guy, putting up a front. And often that's what this is. It's just, when you pull away some of these deep rooted beliefs, you see the guy pulling the strings behind it, who's operating out of pure fear and adrenaline.
Okay, so I love that you chose Wizard of Oz,
Mhm.
because it is, for me, it holds some of the greatest truths in life,
Yeah.
and it is by far my favorite movie on that
Right.
basis.
Right.
If you think about the Tin Man, or this, I guess it's the
Hmm.
Scarecrow first, and then the Tin Man, and then the Cowardly Lion,
Yeah.
they're looking for external validation.
Yeah.
Now, I'm very externally referenced, so I do like to have the badge or the medal or the
Mm.
or the crown or the, whatever the
Yeah.
scary
Yeah.
characters are looking for, that validates.
Yeah. That hallmark of success.
And I think, some of us are internally referenced. One of my children is internally referenced, and he does not give a damn what other people think. And I think,
Right.
wow, that's so cool. And I've had to work really hard not to squash that.
Right.
And I'm
Right.
sure I have at times where I thought, not sure that's the done thing. And I think, well, why not? Why can't
Mhm.
you go on a flight in pajamas? You're going to be way more comfortable. Who gives a
Right.
damn what everybody else thinks, you
Yeah.
know? And the whole time I'd be thinking, yeah, but what does everybody else think, you know? Um, and then, and then full disclosure, I have also worn my pajamas because I'm in such admiration going, okay, well, if you could do that, why am I worried about, but we give away our power so easily. And I think, you know, being externally referenced is fine if that's your nature, but just question it is the
Mhm.
way to go with it, you know, kind of
Yeah.
like, what am I giving away and why? And
Mhm.
and is it for the sake of fitting in, or is it for the sake of someone else telling me I have it? And that's the lesson in the Wizard of Oz, of course, or one of the many lessons in the Wizard of Oz, is that, you know, you already had the brains, the heart, the nerve,
Mhm.
you know, you already had the home, you already
Yeah.
knew this stuff.
Yeah.
It was always within you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just love that you went there, because that's the whole podcast. I mean, go and check out this
Mhm.
podcast. Oh my goodness, go check out this
It is
podcast.
really good.
So anywhere where you get your podcast, Confidence Through Cabaret, or even better, go to the landing page, confidencethroughcabaret.com, and it's on there. And
Yeah.
all of the podcasts are on there. All of our YouTube content is on there. Our vlogs are on there.
Mhm.
So IGTV, all of our soon-to-be blog is on there. You know, so go and check it out. I'm going to write a blog on this.
Yeah.
I just am so excited. But you know, in the podcast itself, Deborah talks about, you know, that you have your worthiness now, you know,
Mhm.
you are full and complete now.
Yeah.
And then, so we're not these, you know, kind of empty vessels wandering, and we
Yeah.
don't give away our power. And actually, that whole kind of sexuality and body acceptance and showing up physically
Mhm.
to express ourselves is what I struggled with when I came to cabaret.
Right, right, right.
Right? Because my mother always told me, you know, be modest and have your shirt
Mm.
up to here, and you know,
Yeah,
don't give
yeah,
it away, and don't suggest things, and don't express things, and don't, you
yeah.
know. And then it's very inhibiting, and it's not
Mhm.
about sex, it's just about being able to feel good in your own body.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't think she recognized that. I think,
No,
you know,
no.
different generation and different messages and different
Yeah,
I guess social pressures,
yeah,
and what were perceived the rights, moral standings, and so on. But I
yeah.
think so. I'm not critical of her in that sense, but
Mhm.
you know, coming into today's world, we have to reclaim that.
Yeah. It's understanding that narrative change and flow, and understanding where the rub is, you know. um and it's I think, yeah, you're right, it's to sort of to say, you know, it's very much like, you know, it wasn't done specifically with bad
No,
intention, but the reaction it causes creates a negative problem. And unless we start working on that and looking at it and understanding it and rewriting that narrative, to be one that's, you know, more supportive of people, and one that is, allows people to reclaim their power, take up space, and use their voice, is ultimately the biggest, you know, is the greatest kind of lesson that we can learn from that. We're supposed to be taking these things from history so that we can figure out what the thing is to do next. And we can see from those patterns of behavior that's not working for anybody. It's not. So the only way forward is to change that and to try something new. And if the trying something new is learning how to be better people by discovering all the stuff that's already within us that makes us feel good and powerful and content, you know, then that's ultimately the best thing.
yeah, I would say if you are externally referenced,
Mhm.
then you are, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this.
Isn't, but just question it, you know. By all means gather information, but be
Mhm.
careful who you surround yourself with as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
you know. Be careful who you allow to give you their
Hmm.
advice or suggestion, or credibility,
Hmm.
or, you know, medal or
Yeah.
crown or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just make sure that they're worthy of your validation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Ah,
And with that, we'd like to say a massive thank you for joining us today. Please make sure you head over to www.confidencethroughcabaret.com, hit us up on that landing page. You can see all of these wonderful, fabulous podcasts, masterclasses, vlogs. There's so much more coming as well. And of course, you know, as it is February, there's a brand new masterclass, which has come from the wonderful Amber Clyde. You can check that out as soon as you sign up and become a member of confidencethroughcabaret.com. And there's so many other amazing masterclasses and features for you behind that, and within that club. So,
and you know what, even if you just want to go to the landing page and check out all these podcasts, it's amazing. Check out our social media. We have a very active and supportive Confidence Through Cabaret community on Facebook. Join us and we can carry on this discussion, because I would love to. It would be amazing. Like and subscribe below, please. Any comments, anything like that, join here, or you know, comment here, or comment on our Facebook community. I am on Clubhouse at Heather YBYWYS. We're also on Twitter at YBYWYS. All the social medias are Confidence Through Cabaret other than that. So should we tell them what the YBYWYS stands for? Just
I think we should. Do you want to kick it off first?
Okay, so my name is Heather.
And I'm Ryan.
And thank you for joining us, Confidence Through Cabaret. We are reminding you that it is your body, your world, and your stage.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Mwah.